This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Rojas.
And I'm Erika Kristensen. Tonight on the Scorecard.
Bustamante is champion again and showed he still got fire in the belly. Pacio stops Brooks to become undisputed one-strawweight MMA champion. Madrid's League last 16. Ferrari unveils 2025 car as Hamilton talks about dream move. In the NBA, Pritchard and Tatum lead Celtics to a 124-104 win over the 76ers, while the Pacers pull away from the Grizzlies. And it's all about tennis tonight with Tavyn Libao live here at the BNC studio. All the headlines and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 21st of February. Now here's our roundup.
At 61 years young, Filipino pool icon and Hall of Famer Francisco Django Bustamante once again showcased his unparalleled skill on the global stage, clinching victory at the 29th annual Jay Swanson Memorial, also known as the Swanny. Facing Germany's Can Salim in the final, who had been undefeated all throughout the tournament and had narrowly defeated Bustamante 8-7 earlier in the event, Django proved why he remains a force to be reckoned with. Trailing 4-1 early in the championship match, Bustamante displayed his legendary composure and precision, stringing together multiple racks to take the lead. In a nail-biting finish, he secured an 11-9 victory, adding yet another title to his illustrious career and claiming that whopping $2,700 top prize. Bustamante's relentless drive doesn't stop here. He is also competing in the Las Vegas Open, where he has already won his opening match. A true champion in every sense, Francisco Django Bustamante continues to inspire fans all across the globe, proving that age is just a number for this living legend. Congratulations, Django.
Filipino MMA star Joshua Pacio cemented his legacy by defeating Jared Brooks via technical knockout in the second round of 171 Qatar main event early Friday morning Manila time, claiming the title of undisputed one-strawweight world champion. The title unification bout was the climactic final chapter in the trilogy between the two bitter rivals after an anticlimactic second match last year. Pacio initially claimed the title via disqualification in 2023, but this time he left no doubt inside the cage. Brooks started strong, securing an early takedown in the first round and attempting multiple submission holds, including a guillotine choke in the final minute. However, Pacio, the 29-year-old pride of Baguio, escaped the holds and connected with ground and pound strikes to keep the contest alive. Pacio, known as the Passion, came out aggressively in the second round, landing a right hook that took the fight to the ground. Combining relentless body and head shots, Pacio unleashed a barrage of ground and pound strikes, forcing referee Mohammad Sulaiman to stop the fight at the 4:22 mark. Emotional after the win, Pacio fell to the ground in tears as Brooks sportingly raised his hand in a show of respect. Pacio also took home a $50,000 performance bonus for his dominant showing and expressed willingness to face Brooks again in the future. Joshua Pacio's victory not only reaffirms his status as one of the best in the sport, but also sets the stage for more iconic battles in the future.
Real Madrid dominated Manchester City to secure their spot in the Champions League last 16, while Paris Saint-Germain crushed Brest to advance in style. Kylian Mbappe shone at the Santiago Bernabeu, scoring a hat-trick as Madrid won a 3-1, completing a 6-3 aggregate victory. City missed Erling Haaland from the start, struggling to keep up with Madrid. Nico with Atletico or Leverkusen. Meanwhile, elsewhere, PSV knocked out Juventus in extra time, while Borussia Dortmund eased past Sporting Lisbon. With the last 16 draw looming, the Champions League is only getting even more intense. So stay tuned for that for more updates.
Ferrari revealed their 2025 Formula One car, the SF25, at the F175 live season launch event. This season brings a new era for Ferrari with 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton joining the team alongside Charles Leclerc. Hamilton, who switched from Mercedes, is already making waves by speaking Italian and calling this move a dream come true. Ferrari last won the Constructors' title in 2008 but came close last season, finishing as runners-up to McLaren. Hamilton, who last clinched the championship in 2020, ended a 2-year winless streak in 2024 with 2 race wins. Can this new partnership deliver the glory both driver and team are craving? Stay tuned.
In the NBA, Peyton Pritchard sank 8 3-pointers and scored 28 points, while Jason Tatum recorded his 4th career triple-double as the Boston Celtics dominated the Philadelphia 76ers 124-104. Tatum finished with 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists, while Jaylen Brown contributed 20 points. Kristaps Porzingis added 17, and Derek White had 16 points and 10 rebounds for the Celtics, who have now won 8 of their last 9 games. On the other side, Paul George led the 76ers with 17 points, while Tyrese Maxey and Kelly Oubre Jr. chipped in 16 points each. The Sixers have hit a rough patch, losing 6 straight and 8 of their last 9. After trailing by 26 points in their February 2nd matchup against the Sixers and pulling off a comeback win, the Celtics didn't need any dramatics this time, scoring 75 points in the first half and building a 26-point lead by the end of the 3rd quarter.
Meanwhile, Tyrese Halliburton scored 22 points and Miles Turner dominated with 17 points, 10 rebounds, and a season-high 7 blocks to lead the Indiana Pacers to a 127-113 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies. Despite missing their first 7 shots and first 8 3-pointers in their return from the All-Star break, the Pacers still posted a season-high 78 points in the first half. 7 Pacers scored in double digits, while Halliburton contributed 9 assists. Over on the Grizzlies' side, Desmond Bane led with 23 points and 7 assists. Jaren Jackson Jr. added 18 points and 7 rebounds, while Ja Morant finished with 12 points. Former Purdue star Zach Edey, making his Indiana NBA debut, scored 5 points and grabbed 11 rebounds. The Grizzlies narrowed the gap to 91-87 in the 3rd quarter, but Indiana responded with 7 straight points and cruised to victory. And here are more results from around the NBA.
And here's your daily dose of sports lingo. Now, what does it mean when swimmers talk about a negative split? A negative split is a swimming term that refers to swimmers completing the second half of a race faster than the first half. Now, it's a strategy used to conserve energy early on and finish stronger in the final stretch. This technique is often practiced during training to build endurance and controlled speed. Plus, here's a fun fact. Legendary swimmers like Michael Phelps have been known to master negative splits, making it a signature move in their races. Now that you know about negative splits and summer is coming, do you think you could pace yourself like a pro in the pool?
It's time for our off-court buzzer. In a tough break for the San Antonio Spurs, all-star big man Victor Wembanyama is out for the rest of the season due to deep vein thrombosis, DVT, in his right shoulder. Today revealing a blood clot that requires immediate treatment. Wembanyama, the 7'3" French superstar and top pick of the 2023 NBA draft, was having a stellar second season, averaging 24.3 points, 11 rebounds, 3.8 blocks, and 3.7 assists, making him a strong contender for Defensive Player of the Year before this setback. The Spurs, currently 12th in the West with a 23-29 record, now face a steep climb without their franchise cornerstone. But the team has made moves to stay competitive, including the blockbuster trade for De'Aaron Fox from the Sacramento Kings. The Lightning quick point guard has been a force since joining San Antonio, averaging 21.6 points, 7.8 assists, and 1.8 steals per contest. Rookie Stephon Castle, the number 4 pick from the 2024 NBA draft, has also been turning heads. Castle recently broke the Spurs' rookie scoring record with a 33-point performance off the bench against the Hornets, showing star potential already. Although losing Wembanyama is a big hit, the Spurs remain optimistic about their future. With Fox leading the charge, Castle emerging as a scorer, and Wembanyama expected to return fully recovered next season, San Antonio seems poised for a bright road ahead.
And that's our roundup for tonight, the 21st of February. When we return, it is all about tennis with Coach Tavyn Libao right here in the studio. So watch out for that and more right here on The Scorecard. Welcome back to The Scorecard. His passion for tennis is undeniable. From being a pro player to being a coach, he has been spreading the love for his sport and even advocating for children with disabilities to pick up a racket to enhance their development. Welcome to the BNC studio, Tavyn Libao. Hello, Coach Tav. So nice to see you off the court.
Yes, likewise. Erika, Anton, thank you for having me in your show. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course. It is our honor to have you here, Coach Tavyn. All right, now let's start off. I know that you've been teaching professionally tennis for 13 years now. Tama ba, Coach?
That's
13,
correct.
Right? Okay, so how has the transition been like from being a pro player to now teaching pro tennis?
You know, one of the biggest things I learned from playing tennis and switching over to coaching is that to play the sport it's a completely different skill as teaching the sport. You know, when I started coaching and volunteering, there was a bit of frustration on my end because I wasn't able to impart the knowledge that I wanted for these kids to be successful. I realized that I had to break it down to more of like a layman's terms, to really break it down to fundamental ways so that they can absorb that knowledge, so that they can also like see it from a beginner's perspective. And the second thing that I learned also is growing up, I played it more like a physical game. I thought whoever had the biggest forehand, biggest serve will win. But now I see it from a cerebral aspect. I see that yes, the physical aspect of the sport is very important, but now I see it from strategy, from different angles.
Right.
And I think those are the biggest changes that I saw in my perspective switching over to coaching.
That's very important, especially your mental game.
Yes,
I think that
absolutely.
plays a huge part in tennis.
Absolutely.
So speaking of mentality, how do you build mental resilience in the sport?
Very good question. You know, resilience is very difficult. I think the way to really just do it is to practice, to expose yourself as much as possible to different tournaments, to different match plays. And that's, you know, one of the other ways to go about resilience is keeping an open mindset rather than the closed mindset. Sometimes when I see my students like hit double faults, I ask them like, what do you say to yourself? They say, okay, don't double fault. But rather than being a passive don't double fault, what I tell them is to have something actionable, say something more active, like say visualize and aim higher over the net. And I think sometimes that in itself solves that problem.
That's a very good
Coach,
tip.
before we went on air, we were talking about how this is actually the first time that we're having tennis as a main topic here on the Scorecard. We're seeing a lot of your photos here on the big LED screen. For those who might be unfamiliar, could you tell us a little bit about your background from when you were a player and how you got into coaching?
Yes, definitely. You know, growing up, I started playing around 5. It was a family activity. It's something that I played with my family every Sunday. Unfortunately, growing up, I didn't like the sport. I was forced to do it. I saw it more as a chore. It wasn't until I moved to Redlands, California that I met my high school coach, Sean Comadina, that really showed me that the sport can be enjoyed. You know, Sean Comadina was very positive in his influence towards me in getting coaching. And when I saw that I had potential both as a player and as a coach, that's when I really grew passionate for the sport.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not love tennis?
I know.
I fell in love with it the first 5 minutes I held a racket.
Good. I'm glad to
Especially,
hear.
no, I mean, like, it's so helpful when you're so stressed, right? And then you just hit the ball, and then, like, that first hit talaga, like, it really you know, it's like that feeling, eh?
I agree. You know, for me, tennis is therapy. You know, when I'm on the court, everything else is silent, and just the sound of the ball, the feel of the ball, that in itself, you know, lifts my mood up.
Okay, Coach Tav, just out of curiosity, what is one thing that you wish you knew as a player that you're now emphasizing as a coach to your students?
Good question. I wish I enjoyed the sport a lot more. You know, being on the court, sometimes the stress of practicing, the stress of competing gets in the way. But really being present on the court and really enjoying it first, I think is one of the best ways to approach it. That way it's a more sustainable way. You're more motivated to come back and train the next day, really.
Coach, now that you're in a different chapter with regards to your tennis journey, you're imparting your wisdom and knowledge and experience to the younger generation. Tell us about that and, of course, your tennis programs as well.
So, you know, like I said, now my number one priority, of course, is to be able to teach them the basics of tennis. But the first thing I really make sure is that I'm able to share my passion. And for these kids and these clients to really enjoy the sport first. If they don't enjoy the sport, most likely they're not going to try it again. For me, it's a lifetime sport. It's something that you can enjoy as you grow older. I still play until now with my tatay, and it's something that, you know, it's a shared activity for us. So first, like I said, first and foremost, what I try to do in my coaching philosophy is for them to really enjoy it first.
And you know what, Coach? When I played with you the first time, I definitely felt that.
Good.
You know, because even if I was making mistakes, you were just like, sige lang,
Yeah,
paano ka
go
naman
lang."
dyan? Yeah, just go. Like, you'll get the hang of it eventually, right?
Yeah.
So I really felt that aura from you, Coach. Now, okay, let's move over to on a more serious topic. I want to pick your brains a little bit as a pro tennis player, of course. Let's talk about the most recent issue, which is super hot in the tennis world right now, which is the recent 3-month suspension of Jannik Sinner due to his doping violation, right? Now, the reason why it's become such a hot topic because both professional players and even tennis fans alike are not shying away from expressing their disappointment to the ATP organization for even deciding to, you know, ban Sinner for 3 months. Kasi a lot of them were explaining, you know, parang ang daya daw na how convenient is it that this issue has been going on for a long time already and they only decided to ban him this so conveniently just at this time when there are no Grand Slams happening in that period. So what are your thoughts on this, Coach Tab? And do you feel that integrity in the sport of tennis has been lost?
You know, I don't think so. I think the integrity of the sport is well intact. It is quite controversial. I cannot blame the ATP or the governing body who decided on this. This is definitely a business decision. Of course, if the number one tennis player is not playing in a tournament, there's a higher chance that less spectators are going to be watching. However, let's see it from a bigger picture. There was no malintention on Jannik Sinner to gain an unfair advantage on his competitors. So just that, and then also him graciously accepting the decision and saying that, you know, he is accountable not only for his actions but also for his teams. Because I think what really occurred here was the physical trainer bought a spray that unfortunately carried like a substance that was banned in the WADA, and it was sprayed on Sinner for a cut or for a wound. And you know, after that, when it occurred, Sinner, you know, accepted it, and it is quite convenient that he's going to be banned for 3 months right before the French Open. But the bigger picture here is there was no intention for him to gain an unfair advantage over his other tennis players.
Yikes.
And this is also, Erika, not the first time that an athlete who has popularity has been involved in this kind of situation.
Exactly.
A couple years back, Kiefer Ravena was also involved in such kind of situation where he was unaware that he took a substance that was not allowed by WADA.
Yes. But you know what? One thing is for sure, his physical therapist must have been fired. Because of that accidental spray, right? All right, Coach Tab, now let's move over because Anton and I have like a hot seat. We're going to put you on the hot seat for a little bit here. Okay, and I hope you tennis fans watching here won't get mad at Coach Tab for whatever opinion he puts out on the show. All right, let's reveal the top 10 men's tennis players of the 21st century. Now, Coach Tav, take a good look at this list. Let us know what you think of this, and perhaps maybe you even want to replace someone on here. Okay, give us your thoughts.
Well, first of all, I would like to commend you guys for this list because I think this is a pretty accurate depiction in the top tennis players in the past 10 to 20 years. However,
I agree.
If I were to change one thing, I am a big fan of Stan the Man or Stan Wawrinka. Yes.
Wawrinka?
Has one of the best one-handed backhands ever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Stan Wawrinka was plagued with a few injuries during his tennis career.
Yeah.
And unfortunately also, he played during the golden era of tennis. So he went against Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, and Rafael Nadal, who are the best three.
The big three.
The big three, and the best tennis players, I think, ever. So if I were to adjust this list a little bit, I think controversially, I do apologize for the Stan fans. I would take him out.
Who would you replace him with?
I would
Can I guess?
Yes.
Yannick Sinner.
Good guess.
Oh.
Good job. Very good job.
You know why? Because I was actually going to say that. Put Yannick Sinner in, but for me, not Stan. Leighton.
Leighton.
I would
Leighton
replace,
Hewitt.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's also pretty good.
Okay, just for the record, are you okay with this ranking? You have Federer at number 1, Djokovic at number 2, Rafael Nadal at number 3. Are you okay with this? To you, Coach Tav, who's the GOAT when it comes to tennis?
That's a very tough question, but I am a big Roger Federer fan. I know that Novak Djokovic has 24 Grand Slams.
Yeah.
Rafael Nadal has 22.
Yep.
And Roger Federer has 20. So technically, Grand Slam-wise, he is on the third. But I think in terms of being the GOAT, Roger Federer is definitely my top one. His influence goes beyond the court.
Yes, exactly. I was just going to say that, Coach Tav, because for me, being a GOAT doesn't only mean winning all of these gold medals.
Absolutely.
It's actually about influencing, something beyond the sport, which is exactly Roger Federer, because he has made tennis mainstream what it is today.
Exactly.
And we can all thank Roger Federer for that.
Yeah, the reason why I brought that question up was because of what Coach Tav mentioned, the number of Grand Slams. Because when people get into these barbershop arguments, that's all, he's number 1, Djokovic is number 1, he's got 24 and Nadal's got 22, so how can you put Federer over them?
Exactly.
Now, for a last question, the most number of Wimbledon titles belongs to Federer with 8. Australian Open, of course, Djokovic got that. French Open, Rafael Nadal. Do you think it's because of the prestige of Wimbledon? That's the reason why many consider Federer as the GOAT.
Yes, partly so, but I think the way grass court plays is definitely conducive to the way Roger Federer plays. He's a servant volleyer, very dynamic on his feet and the way he volleys. So I think that's the reason why, if actually, very good perspective, each of them are pretty much like king of their own courts. Roger being at grass, Novak being at the hard court, and Rafael Nadal, of course, being king of clay.
Very good insights, Coach Tav. I love it.
Wait, who's your GOAT?
My GOAT is Roger Federer. Federer talaga. But if we're talking about millennials, Sinner. For me, Sinner.
Okay.
But also because I'm half Danish, I'm gonna go for Holger Rune.
Oh, Rune.
Yeah.
Rune
Yes,
is a
because
pretty
he's
good
Danish.
Yes.
Anyway, Coach, this was a great discussion and a great first episode with tennis as the main topic. Coach Tav, thank you so much for the time.
Anton, thank you. Erika, thank you so much for having me.
When the scorecard returns, we'll talk about the players who aren't getting enough love but are quietly making waves as we head into the second half of the NBA season. So you can keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the scorecard. It's time to keep your eyes on the prize. All right, let's talk about two guys who aren't getting enough love but are quietly making waves as we head into the second half of the season. Stefan Castle and Ivica Zubac. One's a rookie looking to be more polished in terms of the game. The other is a veteran big man who is having his best year yet. Both are in prime positions to put up serious numbers. So, magsimula tayo sa San Antonio with Mr. Stefan Castle. He's carving out his role as a playmaker, and right now, that role is only going to expand, especially with Victor Wembanyama expected to sit there is going to be a massive shift in shot distribution. 15 to 20 attempts up for grabs. Darren Fox will soak up a good portion of those shots, but Castle is primed to see an increase in volume, especially late in games. And when it comes to crunch time, Castle is proving his worth. He's logging close to 8 minutes in fourth quarters, which is rare for a rookie. And that trust from the coaching staff speaks volumes, whether it's facilitating or creating his own shot. Castle has shown that he can handle the pressure. Expect him to take full advantage of this expanded opportunity. Now, let's head over to the Clippers, where Ivica Zubac is quietly having one of his best NBA seasons. He's averaging 15 points and 12 rebounds per game, racking up 33 double-doubles, 8 most in the league. He's been a pillar of consistency. And with the Clippers at full strength, including Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Norman Powell, he's been thriving. In games where the core is intact, Zubac has exceeded his usual marks more often than not. The bottom line is, Stephon Castle and Ivica Zubac are in perfect spots to make an impact. Castle's expanded role in the Spurs' backcourt and Zubac's consistency, that's something to keep an eye on because they're both in line to make some serious noise. And that wraps up tonight's preview, so you can keep your eyes on the prize.
Now, before we go, think on this from one of the most decorated speed skaters in Olympic history who won 5 gold and 1 bronze medal across 4 Winter Olympics. Bonnie Blair once said, winning doesn't always mean being first. Winning means you're doing better than you've ever done before.
And with that, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again next week on The Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport, right here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This has been Anton Rojas.
And I'm Erika Kristensen. Have a good evening, everyone.
Happy weekend.